Hey everybody, welcome back to another brand new episode of Hi VIBIN. We're super excited to have you here, and today we are talking about how we can tap into our subconscious mind to manifest more money, because who doesn't want more money? Money is a great
Weirdo
tool.
people.
Money is a great tool, a great resource. Obviously, it's important for human needs, but also fun pleasures and desires. And so we want to kind of talk about manifesting more money, but not in the conscious way where you're using your thoughts and your affirmations and all that, but more so how can we tap into the subconscious mind, especially with hypnosis, which is Lynnsey's specialty, in order to create more room for more money to be magnetized in. So, yeah, I'm here with Miss Linz. Lynnsey, I want
As
to kind of
always.
interview you today before we go into the second half of the episode where we interviewed one of your clients about how you guys were able to manifest more money using hypnosis for her. But can you explain to the people the power of the subconscious when it comes to manifesting anything?
Um, yes. If anyone knows me even a little bit, you know that like when I get asked a question, the answer comes out in like 50 different ways just so I can make sure everybody gets it. And so like hopefully everybody's listening knows by now that hopefully it makes sense, but I'm trying to make it as streamlined as possible. So um when you were introducing the show, it was interesting because you said like we're going to talk about manifesting money but not in the conscious way with affirmations and what did you say, the lot like manifesting or journaling or
I don't know,
something that was
just like
along the lines of
if
conscious
it's like
stuff.
visualizing,
Yeah.
like, yeah, when you're thinking about creating more money,
Consciously
we're not
thinking about it,
doing that
which is
today.
interesting because it is really all kind of the same. So the best way to explain it would be like if you picture your mind as like an iceberg, and the tip of the iceberg would be the conscious part of you, where your goals originate, and the subconscious is like the huge massive, you can't even see how big it is, but it's gigantic. And actually the studies that they've recently done are showing that more and more of your mind power is actually subconscious. We used to think it was like 15 to 20% was the conscious mind. Now it's getting down to like 5% is actually conscious. Now that doesn't mean that your affirmations aren't working. Actually, they really are. Depending on the time of day you're doing it, there's a way to amplify that. But instead of consciously doing affirmations and getting like 10% of your or rather 5% of your conscious intention into the subconscious mind, when you're going straight to the subconscious via visualization, deep visualization or hypnosis or meditation or any kind of like subconscious work, you're going straight to the source. So it's a much more direct lightning bolt down to where you actually want to be, so you can figure out what's in there that might not be working for you and kind of release it to welcome in what you actually want, which is manifesting abundance or happiness or whatever it is that is for you. Today, the topic is abundance with money and, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a matter of a more direct route to get to what's going on. And really you're working with about 95% of your mind, 90 to 95%. So you're getting that huge chunk underneath the water working for you 24 hours a day, even while you sleep. So it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, this is something I've personally been working on a lot, as far as like how can I really like feel the abundance that I already have so that I in my subconscious mind label myself as an abundant person, which then turns into my outer reality reflecting more abundance. In this case, we're talking about financial abundance
Yeah.
to me. And the crazy thing is, like, I just realized yesterday that even though one of my major sources of income, which I do hair part-time, so that's like one of my huge sources of income aside from like my blog and the podcast and everything, like even though I've been without that for the last, I don't know how many weeks we've been in quarantine, like 6 or whatever, I've basically like tripled what I would normally make
Mm-hmm.
from being home and not having that job, which is like blowing my mind, but also not, because I do
Yeah.
understand to a degree like how this works and how what I've been doing is helping. And like even a couple weeks ago, I did a session with Lynnsey and we did some hypnosis, and maybe we can go into that a little bit, where we kind of figured out that I have this interesting belief about money in my subconscious that it's kind of like, I would equate it to like, what did you say that thing was called? A snitch, right? No.
I think you called it that,
Oh,
didn't
but what
you?
is it actually
And I
called?
was actually really impressed with your Harry Potter reference at the time. It's called a snitch. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
Golden
the
snitch.
snitch in Harry Potter, the golden snitch. You know how
Yes.
they play that game Quidditch where they're flying around and then they have to catch the snitch, but the snitch is like really fast and it's like, hee hee, you can't catch me, and it's like really sneaky. So in my subconscious mind, for whatever reason, I equate money to kind of like a snitch. Like, ooh, only the really talented and the really skilled and the really fast can obtain me, you know? And that's been subconsciously something that's been holding me back until, of course, we brought awareness to it, and now it's not as much of a problem. But I just wanted to say, be open to how the money comes in, because if I would have just been like, oh, I'm not going to make any money because I'm not doing hair,
Yeah.
maybe things would have been different. But because I was open, I actually tripled what I would normally make from doing way less work.
And when we did this session, remind me, I remember asking you this question, but I don't remember what your answer was. Did you have an idea of what would come up in the session, or were you like completely surprised by what you discovered?
No, I was pretty surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's generally how it goes.
I
You know,
thought I was going to have a great relationship with money already, because
yeah.
I am one of the more abundant people that I know. And everyone jokes like, oh, everything Kelsey touches turns to gold and she's never without money. And like everything she does just works. And like, that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely, there's like definitely truth to that. But at the same time, like there's always room for more improvement. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's room in my body to create even more space to receive more and like make these quantum leaps. So I wanted to schedule a call with Lynnsey. And so my intention was to just like, let's get to the next level. Like I'm ready. But I didn't really have any expectations as far as like what,
What would come up?
yeah, what would actually be revealed.
Yeah. And it just goes to show, and it's definitely common where people will be like, discover throughout our work together or throughout hypnosis or any kind of introspective work, that there's probably more to the picture than you know, which, hello, of course there is. You're dealing with the subconscious, and it's not, all is not always being revealed to you. You can do all the work in the world and get a lot of stuff processed and figured out, but you know, if you're still having trouble, or you still have doubts, or you still have these moments of feeling stuck, there's more in there that you don't even know you don't know. And that's why doing this work is so profound and so important, because it can help you just get that discovery. It's not about like, oh, why didn't I see this, you know? And I know that you're really good about that. You're like, oh, you were observing, you were interested. Oh, that's interesting, I didn't know that that would come up. And of course, it's probably not going to be ideal when more stuff comes up, but would you rather it, not you, but the collective you, anyone listening, would you rather just never know? Or would you rather know so you can actually take steps forward and have somebody there supporting you and helping you kind of make sense of it all?
Yeah, I think the awareness of what's going on in your subconscious is meant to empower you, not to overwhelm you, which I
Yeah.
definitely have felt both ways when I do this type of work and I dive into what I don't know that I don't know. And then some days I get overwhelmed, like, well, what else do I not know that I don't know that's hurting my manifesting capabilities and making my life stagnant? And then I get all like worried. Or you can be like, okay, now I know this piece of information that I didn't know before. This is good news. We can work with
Yeah.
this. We can mold this. We can release this. So it definitely takes courage, and it does take curiosity from a
Yeah.
place of like non-judgment, like not judging yourself for not knowing and not judging yourself for what you find, but just having an open curiosity, like, it's so interesting that I'm like this. Why am I like this? Why do I think
Courage and curiosity. Courageosity.
that? Yes.
It's a trademark. TM. High vibing it.
Courageosity.
And I also, like, you said something that I really liked and I wanted to touch on too, that you, it was something that made me think of like this idea of, you never should compromise on the what, but you should always compromise on the how. And I think it was around when you said that you were a little bit surprised in a good way, and also not surprised that you've been making more money than you did without quarantine and while you were having work, when you were working at the salon. And that's really interesting, because it actually drives that point home. You know, you never swayed in what you wanted. but you were open to how it happened, and you weren't just closed off to the idea or naysaying the idea that you might make money during the quarantine. And I think it's a really hard thing not to do, because the way that you expected it to happen is no longer there, and the way that a lot of people are expecting to make income and we're expecting it is not, it's just not happening, because they just simply can't go to work. So I love that you said that, and it is definitely possible for you. And actually later in the show, we talked to one of my clients who made a point to know in her mind that she was going to just blow up her business during the quarantine, actually said that sentence out loud, and she did. And we'll hear all about her story too. But it's very, very nice when that happens. You should never compromise on the what. You should always compromise on the how, and just let the universe know better than you. I promise you it will work out for your benefit if you're open and you allow that to happen.
Yeah. So what do you find are some of the most common things that you find when you start diving into people's subconscious minds? Things that are holding them back? Like, are there themes?
Okay, there's two ways I want to answer this. Both are equally important. Number one, no subconscious mind is the same as the next. So it's always a different experience for me, which is really fun, and why it's never going to get old for me to do this work. But the other way I want to answer this is that I will say there are certain themes that do come up. So the way that people discover this is never the same per se, but usually, more often than not, it's something to do with worthiness, or almost always has to do with a childhood experience. And I know that's cliche to say, but oh my gosh, it's true almost every single time, where something they were taught about money directly or indirectly by a parent or an authority figure, something they were taught about success. You know, take a look at how your parents viewed success. What did they do for work? How did they view their own success? Did they feel successful, or were they always kind of going for the next thing? We can actually get into ways to figure out what your money/success block is. That's one of them. So yeah, I would say a lot of it is worthiness. A lot of it is just stuff they learned that might not be theirs, and we all have those things. We all have those things.
Yeah.
Underline that, circle it.
That's so interesting that you say look back to your parents, because now that I'm thinking about this, my parents have always been successful, but they usually don't feel successful. Like, they don't feel abundant in their body, even though anyone would look at their life and say it's full of abundance, right?
Yeah.
So they're always worried, even though they don't need to worry. And I definitely fell into that trap. And I've definitely been practicing that because that's what was modeled to me,
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I realized that, I was like, wow, I really just need to take inventory and like open my eyes and look around and feel it viscerally in my body. And I think it's one thing to know something in your mind, but it's another to be able to like integrate it into your physical being, because that's when you can really be an energetic match to that sensation, but also attracting more things that match that.
Yeah. And that's really what we're going for. We talk about manifesting, we talk about law of attraction, hypnosis to get your goals achieved. It really just comes down to aligning your energy with what you want. And that's why hypnosis works, because throughout the work, there's different ways that we do this, but it's really about visualizing that reality, sitting in that reality, realizing it's already yours and you already have it to some degree, and the subconscious will respond. I say this all the time, but your subconscious mind has no idea what's real and what isn't. It really doesn't. That's why you're carrying stuff from 15 years ago that really doesn't belong to you anymore, because it feels like it's still relevant. So if you're sitting in that visualization or in that reality of success or of abundance, your subconscious will feel like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. Got it. Let's do it. And it will align your energy to match that. And that's really all manifesting is. That's all we're doing with hypnosis. That's all you're trying to do with meditating, is you're trying to be an energetic match to what you want. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Amen, sister.
Amen, Lynnsey. I want to talk
a chorus
about
line on that one. Good.
I know, when I get excited, I start singing terribly. So sorry, everyone who's listening.
I love it.
A very high-tech microphone to all the pitches of my voice. But I wanted to ask you, let's say somebody's like, well, I don't know about hiring a hypnotherapist, but what are some
Yeah.
things I can do to kind of hypnotize myself to get more in alignment with creating more space for more money?
To hypnotize myself. Well, I mean, it really just comes down to hypnotizing yourself is like, there's so many different ways to say the same thing. So visualizing, yes. Meditating, yes. Sitting in introspection, yes. Hypnotizing yourself, sure. Self-hypnosis, yes. But I don't see it as any different than meditating, except that with self-hypnosis, generally with any kind of hypnosis, you're just going deeper into the subconscious, deeper into your mind, deeper into the answers that are waiting there for you. Where meditation, generally speaking, is a lighter state of visualization. So I'd say the easiest way to do this is decide what you want, money wise, abundance wise, and just imagine it. Just sit with yourself, imagine what it feels like when you are going to have it. What is it going to feel like? How excited are you going to be? What kinds of things are you going to be doing? Who's going to be with you, cheering you on? And, what does your daily life look like? And just kind of play around in that reality. And it's so powerful. I think it's Abraham Hicks that introduced this idea to me of the 17-second, what is it? 17-second focused thought is like,
Enough to gain
so
momentum.
yeah, enough to
Energetic
gain momentum. It's like a concentrated serum of like manifesting energy, right? So that's a really, really great way. And 17 seconds does not seem like that long, but when you're not practiced and if you don't really know where to begin, it can seem like forever. So maybe just start with 5 seconds. Oh, it's going to feel so good. Oh, I kind of felt that little flicker of excitement. Go with that idea and just kind of build off of it. I'd say that's the easiest way to start. And after we talk about this little sponsor we have for the show, I want to go into what might be stopping people from visualizing and really just kind of busting some myths around visualizing. Everyone can do this. So before we get to that, let's talk about Beat Elite. Kelsey, talk about Beat Elite.
Yes,
You're
I
so much
love Be
better at this
Elite.
than me. Oh my God.
It's just because I'm a fan, so it comes
Well,
naturally.
I'm a fan. She's just more active. She's way more active. Go for it.
So yeah, Beat Elite is great because I'm someone who really loves to exercise. I use my body a lot. In quarantine, it's been a little bit difficult because I can't go to my precious gym, but
There's the singing again.
Still exercising nonetheless. And I'm definitely using Beat Elite when I do it because Beat Elite is basically, it's not a pre-workout in the sense that it'll get you all like hyped up and macho and like pre-workout. Yeah, it's not like that. It's like a drink you take before your workout to help extend your endurance, improve your energy and stamina, and it promotes oxygen efficiency throughout the body. So this is not some like energy drink that's going to get you all hyped up in a detrimental way where you're going to crash. This is something that just helps oxygen to flow more freely through your body so that it will naturally help to extend your endurance and improve your energy. There's no weird ingredients or anything toxic in it. But it's a really yummy tasting drink. I love how it tastes, even though I don't necessarily love beets, because the berry flavor that I use is like amazing. And people all over are loving it. I mean, professional athletes use this stuff. So you're getting top-notch performance nutrition. And it's basically just a way to help your exercise go the extra mile, to help you go the extra mile, and to help the oxygen flow. And fun fact, we all know, sorry, I'm singing a lot today.
I love this.
Know,
I feel like I'm in Frozen.
Or maybe we don't all know, that oxygen is a way to get more light particles into your body. So speaking of being a light being and raising your vibration, the more oxygen, the better. So do what I did. Take your game to the next level with Beat Elite. Go to livehuman.com/VIBIN and you'll get 20% off your first purchase. This is exclusively for High Vibinant listeners. You won't find this deal anywhere else. So go to livehuman, that's HUMAN.com/VIBIN.
And I just like how it tastes. The end.
Lynnsey's not huge on exercise, so we just it's okay. We just skip over that part.
We just skip over it. It tastes good. And it actually, the one time I worked out.
The one time in my whole life.
So I did have this moment where I was working out quite regularly. And there was a couple times I actually did use Beat Elite. versus not using it. And I did actually notice a difference. For those of you that aren't as active as Kelsey, I can actually speak to you guys. I did feel a difference. It felt a lot better to work out and it wasn't as torturous. But yeah, I'm just going to drink it and not work out and see what happens. Because it tastes really good.
It tastes good.
It tastes like Starburst.
So what else do you need?
What else do you need to know?
It tastes good and it's good for you. So that's a win-win right there as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So speaking of light particles, I love that. I never heard anybody explain it that way before, but it's absolutely true.
Breathing in oxygen and drinking water are two physiological ways to get more light particles into your body.
What about sitting in the sun?
I think that would also work. I feel very good when I sit in the sun.
Me too. I just imagine like the divine wisdom. Who was it that said this? I think it was my dear, dear friend, Grace Kavanaugh. But sitting in the sun and just like closing your eyes and imagining the divine wisdom of the universe just kind of flowing into your body from the beams of light. And it's such a beautiful visualization anyway, and you just never cannot feel good after you do that. But anyway, I want to talk about visualization because it's a huge, huge misconception that if you can't see pictures in your mind, you can't visualize. Now, I want to talk about this for a second because Kelsey, did you have this thing floating around social media recently where there's people in the world that don't know that people can see pictures in their mind when they visualize? Like it blew up. And I thought about putting a social media post about taking a poll, because apparently there are, like, if you're on one side of the fence or the other, you don't know that the other exists. It's so interesting to me. Of course I do, because I work with all kinds of people, but I'm interested for our listeners, how many of you can see pictures in your mind and how many of you can't? And did you know that the other existed? Because apparently this is a thing. If you're on our Patreon, please let me know below the video if you can or can't, because I'm very interested. But if you cannot see pictures in your mind and you really want to try this visualization of living in this reality of abundance or money or whatever you want to manifest, if you can't see pictures, play a little game with yourself and just visualize, picture or get some sort of representation in your mind of an orange. Now, if you can't see pictures, maybe you can smell the orange. Try to get on board with the smelling sensation. Try to get on board with like the touch of the peel in your hand, or maybe if you are actually in your mind peeling the orange, if you can feel that, get in touch with the taste of it. Get in touch with the sound of it. Like if you are peeling or slicing the orange, can you hear it? So one of your senses is going to be more dominant than the other. If you can't see in your mind, you can do one of these other things, and that is just as important with visualizing. We think of visualizing as actual visuals, but it's actually just the idea of manifesting something in your mind somehow with one of your senses or two. I don't want to say most. A lot of people can incorporate more than one sense, but if you can get on board with one, just ride that wave all the way to your manifestation. So if you can only smell, okay, let's say you can only smell the orange, but you really want to manifest more money. So get into your visualization. I don't know why I'm having such trouble with that word today. Get in touch with that reality, that idea, and just see what kinds of smells you can. Do you know what money smells like? Can you smell the money? Can you smell like the high-end latte that you're going to get every day when you have $1 million in your bank account revolving? If you can taste, okay, maybe you're in a fancy restaurant and you have the money to afford all the fancy dinners you want. Just play around with it. There's really no wrong answer. As long as you can get one or two of your senses on board with this reality, you're good to go. You don't have to see pictures in your mind. And chances are you can see or get an idea to some degree. So just to the best of your ability, it's not necessary. It's not mandatory that you have to see pictures. I hope that makes sense. Now, the other thing I want to talk about too, when we're getting into what might be stopping you subconsciously, we talked about, take a look at your parents' idea of success, whether they saw themselves as successful, what they taught you about success and money. Another one is what ideas do you consciously have about money can give you a huge magnifying glass into what's in the subconscious. So like if you heard a lot as a child, money doesn't grow on trees, money's the root of all evil, which is actually a misquote anyway. But if you heard these kinds of things, for me, when it came to money and success. There was never enough. And my dad would always say, like, what do you think? We have a money tree or something? Which was also such a cool idea as a kid. Like, oh my God, what if we had a money tree? Um, and just things like that. Like, you think I'm made of money? So in those ways, I kind of learned that, oh, it's like a limited resource in a way. And a lot of us learn that as children, that it's a limited resource when you grow up and wake up, I want to say, you realize it's unlimited. It's just energy, and there's room for every single one of us at the top, because it's literally an energetic resource that can bring us a lot of joy, happiness, freedom, relief, whatever that is for you. And yeah, there's more than enough to go around. So take a look at what you were taught as a kid, and also, once you realize these things, why those things aren't true. It's very important to dispel those right in the conscious mind, because it is actually, to some small degree, getting in the subconscious mind. And if you do have access to hypnosis or meditation, reinforce those new truths rather in your meditation practices.
Yeah, I feel like it's really about noticing what's going on in your mind and then questioning, is this true? Do I
Exactly.
want this to be my truth? What would I prefer to believe? How can I find evidence to support a new belief? How can I question what I'm thinking about myself? And I always like to think of the subconscious as like the identity police. So I think another good exercise is like, how do I see myself as far as like labels? Like, am I a rich bitch, or am I like broke, or am I this, or am I that? And just by figuring out kind of how you think of yourself, that's what's going on in your subconscious mind.
I'm so glad you said that, because another really, really great way to figure out how you view money and what may be stopping you is really get in touch with how you speak internally or externally, out loud or in your mind, about your successes versus your failures. Do you blow up your failures much, much bigger than your successes? Do you downplay your successes and the things that are good in your life and really kind of focus on the negative? If that's going on, please know you are not alone. You're actually in the majority. However, it doesn't mean that it's right or okay, or that you have to be doing that, because it's actually holding you back from a lot of really amazing stuff. So really look at that, how you speak about your successes versus your failures in money, how you treat money, I would say, like when you have to pay a bill, what's your attitude when you're paying that bill? You know what I mean? um it took me a minute, but now I'm really, really good at, like, when I write the check or click the button online, I say, like, thank you AT&T for giving me another month of phone and internet service, or thank you for my utilities, because I love water and I love having electricity. These are really amazing things. So really focus on how you're viewing those things. And once you start putting more gratitude into how you're using your money and thanking your money for doing that, oh my gosh, it's going to feel way more welcome in your energy. It just will. True?
Yes, true. Word.
Kelsey agrees.
I want to dive into the interview that we did with your client, Chelsea,
Yeah.
because she was really able to shed some light on kind of her process to manifesting more money. And I don't know if I can say this on the air. We didn't say it in the interview, but she's now making $30,000 a month or more because of what you helped her do.
It's more.
All right, cool. So it's more than that. So if you're interested in living this type of lifestyle, then I would continue listening on. Also, there's even more content in the Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/high vibe, you can see how cute she is even off air. And we get
had
into
such a
more
fun
of
time,
the
didn't we?
money mindset stuff. Yeah, she was really fun. But before we go into that interview, I just want to take a second to acknowledge our other sponsor, which is BetterHelp. We love BetterHelp. It's a really amazing online resource. And I would say it's so timely right now during this pandemic, an online resource for you to connect with therapists and counselors. So if there's something that's been interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals, a therapist or a counselor can be really helpful and really beneficial, especially at this time. BetterHelp assesses your needs to match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you can start communicating with them in under 24 hours. Keep in mind, this is not a crisis line. It's a professional counseling service that's done securely online. there's a broad range of experts and people that have different specialties, so they'll match you up with the right one. You can log into your account at any time and send messages to your counselor. It's a really great tool. I used this a while back when I was healing from a really, really harsh breakup after a super toxic relationship, and it was just invaluable to have someone in my corner explaining, this is what you went through. It's totally normal that you're feeling how you're feeling. This is how you can move forward. Let's hold space for what you went through. And I just have nothing but good things to say about it. So
Yeah.
if you want to see more testimonials from other people, you can go to betterhelp.com/reviews, but definitely visit BetterHelp, that's HELP, and join over 800,000 people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. And for you guys, we have a special offer, of course. Hi VIBIN listeners get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/VIBIN. And I do want to point out that this is already way more affordable than regular therapy, and you can do it in your PJs.
You can do it in your PJs.
And you can do it in quarantine because you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah. There might be even a bigger demand for this kind of stuff.
I think so.
With all the vibes going around right now, you know?
I feel like this time has just really put a flame under whatever unhealed emotions were happening already inside of you, and now it's just been brought to the surface in a very extreme way. So if you want help processing, definitely go to BetterHelp and use that service because it's really, really awesome.
BetterHelp.com/VIBIN for 10% off your first month. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's dive into our talk with Chelsea.
This was so fun. You guys are going to love it.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So for this part of the show, I thought it would be really, really beneficial and just fun. I wanted to bring on one of my dear, dear clients. Her name is Chelsea Newman. She's an online entrepreneur who helps ambitious women all over the world make money through Wi-Fi. And I really wanted to bring her on so she could share her experience and her story with, you know, working with hypnotherapy to achieve her abundance monetary goals. So, hey, Chelsea.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is going to be really entertaining. We've already had so much fun talking.
I already named Chelsea the Wi-Fi queen.
The Wi-Fi
queen. I love it. That's so awesome. I'm gonna have to update all of my branding, all of my content now when we get off of this podcast.
Yes. So why don't we start by, can you tell people how you, like, what kind of brought me to your awareness to begin with? Like, what made you think of me or hypnotherapy as part of your goal achievement?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a fan of Crystal Iram, who's amazing. Worked with her in the past, and I was actually listening to her podcast, and you happened to be on one of her episodes. And, you know, I had been working towards a specific career goal of mine for quite some time, was doing a lot of the inner work, was doing all the affirmations, the journaling, all the things, the visualizations. And after hearing you on Crystal's podcast, I was like, wait, this might be something I actually need to look into. This could be like my missing link. So I reached out to you, and that's really what started that process for me.
And then we just hit it off.
And then we hit it off. And then it was love.
We have
and
so
then
much
it was
fun.
love. I know, it's awesome.
So let's talk about
so much.
I want to know some specifics here of where were you before you met Lynnsey and worked together? And then after you guys did hypnotherapy together, what were you able to accomplish?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I was already very successful in my online business and was, you know, I had reached a lot of my goals, but there was one specific career goal that I had been aiming for over a year. And I wasn't having much momentum with that. And after working with Lynnsey, I don't know how many sessions we did, if it was like 7 sessions or 8 sessions. I don't know. I hired her to do the full 12-week sessions.
She was not playing around.
I was not playing around. I'm like, this is happening. Like, let's go. And so, yeah, I don't know if it was like the 7th or the 8th or the 6th session or whatever.
I think it was right after this. It was like a day or two after the 7th, I think.
Yeah.
And then by the time we spoke on the 8th, we were both like so excited.
So excited. So I hit my goal. The whole reason why I hired her. And so that's just been such an amazing experience. And for me, it really has opened my eyes because I didn't really understand hypnotherapy. I mean, I've over the past 2 years going on this entrepreneurial journey, it's really opened my eyes to the world of personal development and mindset and the law of attraction and the power of your subconscious mind and all those things and manifestation. And I really have gone super deep into that, and that's played a big role in my success. And I teach that to my team as well. But I had never really understood hypnotherapy. So when I started working with her, it just made a lot more sense how like as to why this could have been like the missing link for why I maybe hadn't achieved my goal yet, because it doesn't matter how many affirmations you do, how much inner work you do. Sometimes you just have to go that extra step to really open up the door to your subconscious mind. And that's what working with Lynnsey and doing hypnotherapy really allowed for me to do.
Yeah, I love that. So did you guys like get around in your subconscious, kind of tinker around and then realize like exactly what was stopping you from achieving this goal? Like, did you find where that resistance or like blockage was?
Yeah, definitely. I think it stemmed back to, some like worthiness things and, really, what I've realized too is I think a lot of things stem to like, if you're wanting to hit a certain goal in life or whatever it is, I think deep down inside worthiness plays a big role, of that, no matter how old you are or how much you think you've overcome. So, we did a lot of work around that, and just stepping into, like your higher self and trusting that you're on the right path, all those things. So yeah, we really dug deep into that. And I think that played a huge role.
And I think if I could interject, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but from my standpoint as the hypnotherapist, I suppose, I noticed from you really, for some people, it's a direct line to what is stopping you. It's a direct treatment of like, okay, here's your blockage. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
For you, I think it was some of that, but for you, I also noticed it was more of a lot of automatic stuff that once we were able to, in hypnosis and in your conscious life, acknowledge and question like, where are those patterns coming from, and shifting those consciously, because of the work we're doing with the subconscious, it was easier for you to like, I say this to people all the time, like you'll probably wake up one day and realize you don't have this stuff anymore. It's not like a dramatic, like, oh my gosh, I'm free. It's more like a gradual, like one day you're just fine and you're good and you're making decisions based on who you want to be instead of who you were told that you have to be, kind of thing. So it is definitely a gradual shift over time, where you kind of acknowledge and notice these things that aren't working and you consciously work to shift them based on the work we do. So I always tell people, like, I will take care of the subconscious. I got the 90%. You take care of the 10% while you're awake and you notice these things happening. Just acknowledge and try to make a new decision. So it's different for everyone. I feel like you were a little bit of both, where we did recognize what was happening and what was stopping you. And we also had that gradual kind of change or shift where you did start noticing these patterns weren't working anymore, and you were kind
of
doing that work as well.
120%. Absolutely. And I think it's such an important thing to point out too. This is something that I've learned just like in the past couple of years. And I know, Lynnsey, you obviously know this, but your subconscious mind is formed between the ages of 0 to 7. So anything that you are exposed to, have had happen to you, have heard, whatever, it really does follow into your adult life. And if you don't fix that and become aware of that, those patterns bleed into your adulthood, right? So, which is why I think the power of hypnotherapy is so important. Whereas many people look at it almost as like a last resort, I almost think it should be like the first thing that you do. So it's totally changed my perception on it.
Yeah, I definitely love the fact that I'm the last resort for people, because then I know like you're not going to need anything else after this. Like I'm happy to be your last choice. I am the final choice. You try everything else, and when you want to actually make some change, you come to me.
Right, exactly. You're
An
good.
interesting way to look at it.
I think it's really noteworthy that you mentioned that you felt like a lot of what was holding you back was due to like maybe feelings of unworthiness, or just not even if you felt unworthy in general, but just if you felt like not worthy enough for this big goal that you wanted, which I think happens to a lot of people. And
For
it's
sure.
interesting because it's like, even if you can manifest what you want, if you don't feel worthy, you're just not going to let it in. Even if it like
Amen.
shows up in your immediate reality and you've created it, you can't fully integrate it into your life and into your being because it doesn't match up with your identity of yourself, which goes back to us talking about like the subconscious being the identity police. Like if your subconscious is convinced that you're not worthy of something, then it's not going to let it in because it's not congruent with who it defines you to be. So I think that's where hypnosis comes in and is like so powerful.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
But I have a question for you. I truly believe, I know Kelsey and I are both, and Chelsea, and Lynnsey are all in the same boat where we do not believe in coincidence. We know that everything happens for a reason and in divine timing. So what about this timing do you feel like could possibly be the perfect timing for you to be working on this stuff?
You mean like that I hit my goal, or doing the hypnotherapy?
The hypnotherapy during like a quarantine, let's say, for instance.
Honestly, it's been, and I know you and I had talked about this before as well. I mean, my entire business, I'm with a network marketing company, and our entire business is online. And it was really interesting that I hit this huge achievement that I've been striving for over 1 year. I mean, like relentlessly striving for it, like to the point where I was like, is this even gonna happen? Like, you know, because I was like, what in the world is going on? And I hit it during a global pandemic. And I thought that was interesting.
Tell everybody what you said in our session when we were talking about what's going to happen. Like, oh my gosh, everybody's shutting down. What did you say?
I said that our businesses are going to thrive. And they did, and they are.
And then it was less than a week.
Yeah.
He said that statement. Here's the thing with Chelsea. She's an Aries as well. Shout out. She is so, her mind is, when she's set to something, she's set to it. So when she tells me our businesses are going to thrive during this quarantine, I believe her. I have, and I'm able to tell, trust me, doing this so many years, I know when people are trying to convince themselves of something when they say it, or when they're trying to convince me. But there was none of that. She's like, no, this is happening. And I was like, I have no doubt that this is going to happen for you. Incidentally, the same day, I think that you said that, I signed another client. So I was like,
oh my God, Lynnsey,
she's infectious.
That's so awesome.
Like the things she says are like so infectious in such a good way. But I just think that's beautiful. Like you declared it, right? We did the hypnosis. And then it was like a day later, 2 days later, she texted me. Well, I have Voxer and we Voxer each other. She's like,
I was freaking out.
Guess what? And I was so over the moon excited for you. It was amazing.
It was, oh my gosh, it was so crazy. One of the best days of my life so far. So thankful. But yeah, no, it's really interesting because like while the world, and it's funny because like, well, it's not funny. I mean, it's interesting because we're all going through the exact same thing, right? Like everybody that's listening to this right now, we're all going through this pandemic together. We are not all going through it the same exact way though, right? Like we are all experiencing it in a different way, but as a collective, we are all experiencing it together. So a lot of people have been, laid off or furloughed, or their pay's been cut in half, or, or they're suffering, or maybe a loved one's in the hospital, or maybe, they're at home with their significant other and they want to blow their brains out, or, whatever. So, I mean, everyone's experiencing this on a different way, but to have been able to accomplish this huge goal of mine during this pandemic just reminded me of letting go of your timeline and leaning into faith instead of fear. Like, I feel like the reason I'm a Christian, I believe the reason that God allowed me to have this goal accomplished during this whole time was to be like, you just got to lean into the faith and into the work that we did together. And that you cannot control the how or the when something's going to happen. You just have to trust that it is, no matter what. And the reason it happened when it did, I think for me, was a lesson to always trust that everything always works itself out in divine timing, and to always have faith, because when it's impossible, that's exactly when miracles happen.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people who are in the faith religion, or even people who rely on the manifestation law of attraction, the universe has my back kind of thing.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people that are like, I don't need to do inner work because if it's meant for me, it's just going to happen. Like the universe will let it happen, or God will let it happen for me. What would you say to them when they're kind of like, I don't need to do it?
That's such a lackadaisical, scarcity, lazy mindset, honestly. That's what I have to say.
Amen. I feel like I'm in church right now.
I call BS on that mindset. Because at the end of the day, no matter if you believe in God or whatever it is, whatever you have, whatever faith system you have, we all have free will, right? So like, what is it? What's the 12 universal laws or whatever, the law of action, right? Like, you can't get anything by sitting on your butt all day being like, I really want $1 million. If I'm meant to have $1 million, it's just going to happen while I'm sitting in my recliner watching soap opera all day. Like, no, like, why in the world would you get $1 million? You've done absolutely nothing to deserve that $1 million. Like, it doesn't happen like that. You have to take action. You have to be of value. You have to serve. You have to step into your power, right? So doing the inner work, no matter if you're a Christian or whatever you believe in, I think is so vital, because you have to make a choice, you have to make a decision, and you have to say yes to whatever it is that you feel called to.
And I think it goes back to how beautifully Kelsey put it too. Whereas like, if you're not there if you're not in the position and the person that you're supposed to be at the time it's coming to you, you're either not going to recognize what it is. You're not going to want to like receive. You're not going to know how to receive it. It's not even going to like phase you. It's not even going to come into your awareness. But so if, doing the inner work is what's helping you get to that position that you can receive it when it's time. Amen, absolutely. Kelsey?
Amen. Yeah.
There's a quote by, I think it's Wayne Dyer that says this. And he says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yeah. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it's all about perspective. And that's truly what I think the inner work is all about. It's changing your mindset, what you perceive to be true, and your reality, and how you look at things, and however you look at them is how they are going to be true for you in your life.
Yeah, I love that. I always say that, like, all of our power is in our perspective, because no matter what your actual circumstances are, two people could have the same exact circumstances, but be living in completely different realities, because their perception of it is different. The way they're taking it in and experiencing it and seeing it and noticing it and thinking about it is completely like 180 different. So it really, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are if you have a shitty mindset all the time. Like, no matter how much money you have, if you're never like grateful for it, you're always going to want more. Like, that's just one of many, but that goes for any area of life. So my last question for you would be, now that you've been on this money manifesting journey with Lynnsey, what are some more pointers or like some other big lessons that you feel like you've learned through it?
That's a great question. Well, before I answer that, I feel like there's something to be said with what you just said about like how you can go through the same circumstance. And it's the same thing with this pandemic, right? Like, you can either look at this like, oh my gosh, the world's ending, my life is over, this sucks, I'm broke, like whatever. Or you can look at it and you can find opportunity in the mess. There's always an opportunity in every failure, whatever, so like, I think it would be such a tragedy for people to go through this time and come out of this the same person. I think it's an amazing opportunity for people to go through this whole pandemic and do the inner work, listen to that podcast, read that book, take that course, whatever, take the action and become a better person. So when this is over, because we'll never get this time again. So in a way it's a blessing, but it's also, you know, it's also a very horrible time in history. But if you look at it as an opportunity and a blessing and treat it as like, you know, this time that you've been praying for to do the work that you've been wanting to do, you can come out a better person. But the other things I think that I've learned is just to know that you are always divinely guided, loved, and protected. Like I truly believe that God led me to listen to Crystal's podcast, that led me to listen to Lynnsey. And one of my favorite affirmations from one of my favorite mentors, Catherine Zinkina, Manifestation Babe, she's amazing. One of her affirmations that I adopted is, I am divinely guided, loved, and protected. She says, by the universe. I say by God. And this is just for me another reinforcement that I am, and that, you know, no matter what, you're on the right path.
Love it. Beautiful.
And now go fill your swimming pool with all that money and go swim in it.
Oh yes.
And send us pictures.
Oh, I will. Let me.
Her Instagram's gonna blow up.
It's gonna be popping. Hey, do you guys know who Amanda Francis is, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Also one of my favorite people. She, I've taken her money mindset course, and I think it's so fantastic how she advertises for the course, because she literally, in one of the years, she was in a bathtub full of dollar bills. And then this year, I think she was in a pool full of dollar bills, and it's meant to trigger people.
Uh-huh.
But it also, like, obviously works, because you want to purchase her course and do the money work.
I want that swimming pool.
You're like, I
want
want
that
to swim
swimming
in
pool
some
too.
dollar bills. Well, probably right
Yeah.
now, because they're probably dirty, full of disease and stuff.
Oh my gosh,
But
yeah.
Oh yeah.
outside of this time,
Sanitizer.
sanitize your money.
Here, sanitize your money. Sage and sanitize your money.
Oh my gosh, that
Sage
is
and
too funny.
sanitize. I love it. Well, thanks for coming on, Chelsea. This has been really fun. I'm really
Thanks
happy.
for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to share your success with everyone, to kind of give them hope and reassurance that their dreams are worth pursuing, and to like not give up.
Amen.
Totally.
Absolutely. When it looks like it's not going to happen, that's when your biggest breakthrough is about to happen. That's at least what I've learned in my personal experience. So if you're going through a dark night of the soul right now, just know that you're about to come out on the other side, and it's going to be so worth it.
And try hypnosis.
And try hypnosis and work with Lynnsey, because she's amazing.
Yeah, obviously. I think that part is a given. So
Yes.
if you guys want to work with Lynnsey, you know where to go. We always put our websites and stuff in the description below, but it's just lynnseyrobinson.com. Obviously, she's a great hypnotherapist, as we can all attest to here, because we've all worked with her. And it's a great way to help you to manifest more money, among other things.
Yeah. Money, 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 honey. Love it.
Love it.
Chelsea, you're the best.
Yes.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Everyone, have a great day. Enjoy your little tidbits of wisdom that you've received. Try to just soak it all in, integrate it all, drink lots of water, and we'll see you guys next week.
And don't forget to go to the Patreon for more stuff.
Word.